Oh, these laws we've all followed, and in these walls I've been hollowed. We got the news, we got the cage, but no one's singing today. Never knew my freedom days till they took some jewels away. And we're just trying to find our way, but no one's singing today. But who knows, maybe these times will make us whole. And who knows, maybe this solitude will bring us home. And who knows how much sweeter life will taste for these dark roads we've roamed. But I know one day we'll be singing again. Ooh, we'll be singing again. The second wave, the chart of rates. We chase the numbers on a page, and hear another hit the grave. No one's singing today. Another year, it's just the same. The crown has ruled another game, and I hope we get hold of this craze to hear us singing again. But who knows, maybe these times will make us whole. And who knows, maybe this solitude will bring us home to our souls. And who knows how much sweeter life will taste for these dark roads we've roamed. But I know one day we'll be singing again. Ooh, we'll be singing again. Da-da-da-da-da-da. We'll be singing one day. Oh, we'll be singing again. Ready? Estoy enamorado de la Catrina, ella no sabe lo que siento. Estoy cantando de ti, Catrina, porque quiero verme como ella. Estoy mirando a mi Catrina, pero puede ella verme sin dos ojos. Estoy pensando de ti, Catrina, y mis pies quieren bailar a México. Catrina, la Catrina, calavera señorita. Catrina, la Catrina, si yo me muero estaría contigo. Si un día nos encontramos, Catrina, y bailamos con las flores en tu cabeza. Si un día estoy tan flaca, un calavera, moriría una señora muy feliz. Si caminamos por las calles del cielo, o nos lo que trae la vida. Catrina, la Catrina, calavera señorita. Catrina, la Catrina, si yo me muero estaría contigo. Catrina, la Catrina, calavera señorita. Catrina, la Catrina, si yo me muero estaría
Started. Bienvenidos. Hello, everyone. Me llamo Molly Rose. Soy parte del equipo de Burners Sin Fronteras y estoy súper emocionada para guiarnos durante esta experiencia con mi colega Christopher Breedlove. I am Molly. I'm a part of the Burners Without Borders team, and I am super excited to be co-hosting us through today's event alongside Christopher Breedlove, who you'll meet in just a moment. Hemos diseñado el evento de hoy para incluir a nuestra diversa comunidad aquí. Si desea una traducción al español, haga clic en el botón Interpretación y después selecciona Español en la parte más baja de su pantalla. Y nuestro intérprete de español, Eugenia Vázquez, traducirá el audio. Ponerse cómodos mientras comparto información sobre nuestro espacio digital para que podamos aprovechar al máximo nuestro tiempo juntos. I just said that we've designed today's event to be as inclusive of our diverse community here as possible. So some segments of the program may be in Spanish or English. And if you'd like English to Spanish translation, click on the interpretation button at the bottom of your screen and select Spanish. This is our first attempt, y'all, at creating a bilingual event like this. So I'm sure it'll be imperfect and we are figuring it out together. So as you're getting comfy and grabbing your ingredients, I'm gonna quickly share information about our digital venue so that we can make the most of our time together today. We've chosen to come together in a regular Zoom room so that we can see each other. And this is a really big call. It is super powerful to see how vast our shared community is. So while I'm talking, go ahead and use the arrow button at the top right-hand side of your screen to scroll through and see all of the people that we're in community with today. And you can also play around with switching your view into gallery mode on the top right-hand side of your screen. Please stay on mute throughout the program today. We do have some helpers to make sure we all stay muted, and we encourage you to interact via the chat box to share reactions, questions, and thoughts. You can find the chat box as one of the icons on the bottom of your Zoom screen. We will be spotlighting presenters to make it easy to follow along, and you can stay in speaker mode to always see who's talking. We invite you to keep your video on as you're cooking and participating, but this experience is being recorded, and so you're welcome to keep your video off if you prefer. Anyone who hasn't registered can join today and watch along on Facebook Live. And we have some folks in the chat box dropping that link for you to share with your friends. Thank you for sticking with me through our housekeeping. You will see me back on the virtual stage a little bit throughout the event, but for now, I'm here with my tea, I'm here with my listening ears, and I am so excited to invite our friend, artist, entertainer, and participatory musician, Jurgis, to kick us off in celebration with an interactive musical experience. Jurgis?
Hey, beautifuls, how are y'all feeling today? Can I get a sign of life from you? Necesito una señal de vida de ustedes. Sí, qué lindo, how beautiful. I'm so happy that today we are bringing the culinary world and the musical world together. And this is an event bilingüe. Bilingüe, it means that we do it in Spanish too. Y estoy muy contento y alegre que hoy estamos combinando tradiciones culinarias con tradiciones musicales. Sí, okay. If you've heard about this project, you know about the hornito, right? The horno, the hearth, right? Now, an hornito, an horno, is a furnace. Ustedes saben lo que es un horno, right? The horno is the place where people come together from the wild and they start to create a community. They become people through experiences. And one of those shared experiences is culinary delight. Yes. Ahora, la traducción. Nosotros entendemos que el horno es un lugar donde nosotros empezamos a formar comunidad, donde nosotros como animalitos que viven en el monte llegan y empiezan a ser seres humanos entre otras personas al lado de lo que es una hoguera. Lo que se forma es un hogar. And you know what's very beautiful? The hogar, ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you in Spanish, the hoguera, the place where you have that flame burning, in Spanish it's the same word as home, right? So today, this whole project is about making home, making community, sparking community all across the border territories where people need to come together to remember their humanity. Porque estar en ese estado es volver a la humanidad. And there's one concept which I would like to share with you today, and it is a concept that is absolutely universal. Es un concepto universal. Y es universal porque todo el mundo entiende. All of you understand. Show me. You understand. Show me if you understand. Si entienden. Muéstrame. Show me how you go. When you hear very nice music, how do you go? When somebody gives you a delicious dish, qué rico, right? This is universal. Everybody who comes to the fireside will understand what is nice. And I'm going to share a word with you today, which I want you to learn and I want you to sing with me. That word is sabroso, 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 sabroso. And when you sing it, sing expressively. Sabroso, sabroso. So we know that you're enjoying. Sabroso, yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, señoras y señores, cuando cantan sabroso, yo necesito verlo. I need to see it. Show me sabroso, sabroso, yeah, sabroso, 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 I love it, sabroso. To form communities, to contribute. So what I'm going to ask you all to do is to get into this groove. Show me two hands. Formar comunidades, contribuir. Muéstrenme manitas. Show me hands that are snapping. chukatu, chukatu. This is how you're contributing to your music and to the common space. Sakataka, taka, 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 taka. Beautiful. And when your time comes, don't forget to sing. We all know what it means to taste good. It's simple as clear is understood when warm and cold or cool is hot. You know it like that if it's happening or not. A pound of sugar and a fistful of soul, a pinch of twist, to and throw. Add in a little bit of 1, 2, 3. You got yourself a one kick-ass recipe. Sabroso, your mama, she love it, sa. Your papa, he dig it, sa. Your sister, she love it. Dig it, dig it, dig it, dig it, dig it, dig it. It's sabroso, your mama, she love it, sa. Everyone dig it, sa. Yeah, lovely. I would like you all to come closer. Venga más cerquita. Come closer. Más cerquita. Closer. Closer. Come closer. Closer. Even closer. Closer. Más cerquita. Más cerquita. Closer. 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 Mwah. Yeah. The digital hearth. The digital bonfire is where we remember and we rekindle our human warmth. Jesse dice que hace frío aquí. Okay, let's find Jesse and let's give Jesse some warmth. Jesse, let's give Jesse some digital warmth. When you sing sabroso, sing it with your hands. 1, 2, 3, sabroso. Your mama, she love it, sa. Your papa, he dig it, sa. Your brother, he dig it. Siggy, diggy, 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 diggy. Sabroso. Your mama, she love it, sabroso. You know we, the burners, won't have it any other way. Yeah. To win the heart, first conquer the waist. Please the tongue to leave a good taste. Serve up a dish that satisfies. Show them all that you're more than pretty eyes. Abuse the chili and the pepper too. Show that little something burning deep in you. Show them all how you rock when you're cooking. How you rock the mic, how you can do it with that looking. 1, 2, 1, 2. A ver. Sabroso, your mama, she love it, sa. Yeah, Charles. I see Mary's not singing. Come on, try it out. Sabroso, sabroso, sabro. Very nice. Now, we are creating a little digital furnace right here amongst all of us. And let me ask you, do you feel the warmth? ¿Ustedes sienten el calorcito humano acá que está transmitiendo por la pantalla? If you feel the warmth, si sienten calor, go like this. Hot, hot. Uy, qué calor. Uy, qué calor. Qué calor. How hot. Uy, qué calor. Qué calor. And now I want you to do something. I would like us to take this human warmth and pass it on to the world around us. So you're going to go, oh. Doesn't count. Oh. Para que todos sepan que la están pasando rico. Oh. Yes. Y uno más. Oh. Yeah, 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 sabroso. Your mama, she love it, sabroso. Your papa, he love it, sabroso. He dig it, 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 sabroso. Your mama, she love it, sabroso. The burners, they love it, sabroso. Okay, let's see who we have on. I want to know, is Colombia presente? The Colombians like it, sabroso. Show me if you're from Colombia, hands in the air. Very good. From Mexico, hands in the air. Mexico. How about the United States? Is the United States present? Does the United States like it sabroso? Very beautiful. People from all over Europe, let me see your hands as well. It means we have something in common, that we both enjoy culinary delight, and any way you cook it, it's gonna bring a lot of love that's bright, gonna bring it to your face, it's gonna bring it to your heart. So you know that we're not just building furnaces, we are building embassies of human warmth all across the border. And I want to thank you for being a part of it. And I would like you all to right now manifest love with these hands, Oh, and you can manifest love with your wallets as well. If at the end of you, see, también. And let's manifest some love for the whole BWB community and everybody who made this special furnace building community possible. 1, 2, 3. Sabroso.
Yergis, thank you so much. Mucho gracias, por favor. Oh my gosh. I appreciate you bringing us all together this morning to start with music, to kind of move up, to get that energy flowing, to connect with us. I really appreciate it, brother. Thank you so much. Hey everyone, my name is Christopher Breedlove, and I am from Burners Without Borders and Burning Man Project. And to start us off this morning, I wanted to give a little context for our day together. You know, we have people calling in from all different time zones and countries today. And so I know some of you already did this before we started, but just to give you an idea, because we have more people coming in the room, we wanted to get an idea of where people are calling in from. So if you want to type into the chat box right now, tell us where you're calling in from, because we know we have people all over the world right now. So I'm seeing California, I'm seeing Hawaii, I'm seeing Oregon, Minneapolis, New Jersey, Nambia, Massachusetts, Harlem, oh my gosh, Netherlands, Texas, Montreal, Scotland. Okay, I gotta stop looking at that because there are so many things coming in. But really, wow, there's so many of us from so many different places, and we're really honored that you chose to spend your mornings, your afternoons, your evenings with us, because there's a lot of places you could be. You could be anywhere in the world right now, but you chose to be here with us. So thank you. So what are we gonna do here today? We're here to share an experience. We're here to share a meal. We're here to hear a story, and we're here to gather around a virtual table with our community down in Nogales today. So, you know, today we have a couple cameras of the community down in Nogales. So if we all want to take a minute and just wave to our friends down in Nogales, because we're joining them at their table right now. Hey, everybody. Hola. Great. Thank you for welcoming them in. You know, we're brought here together by two different organizations, which is Alight and Burners Without Borders with Burning Man Project, along with a host of friends and creatives who all believe that everyone should have a little piece of home, no matter where they are in the world. And so what we've done today is we've put together an event that's supposed to bring us into 3 different parts of our bodies, which is 3 different acts. So Act 1 today is going to be about using our hands that we all just played with Yergis. And we're going to be exploring recipes and talking about the importance of food in making home. Act 2 is going to be about our hearts, and we're going to be watching the world premiere of the film Pedacito de la Tierra, A Little Piece of Home. And then Act 3 is going to be about engaging with our heads and being in conversation about the meaning of this project. And we're going to be speaking with some of the people who made this project happen and all the magic that's with us today. So stick with us. It's going to be a great experience. It might feel like it's a little long right now, but I guarantee you it's going to fly by. And we have so many people who have been working really hard to make this happen. And so I'm going to say, Kai, I'd love if you could get the video ready to go, because we are going to welcome to the virtual table by someone who I'm proud to know and introduce, Sister Lika, a nun, a caretaker, and someone with a huge heart, and the organizer of the Casa. Sister Lika recorded this welcome message for us. So let's listen.
Muy buenas tardes. No hay día que no se cumpla ni plazo que no se llegue. Sean todos bienvenidos a esta Casa de la Misericordia desde Nogales, Sonora, México. Una calurosa acogida para todos ustedes, como el calor que emana de este horno, motivo que nos tiene aquí reunidos compartiendo espacios de alimento, espacios de amistad. Haciendo vida el Evangelio, tuve hambre, me diste de comer. Tuve sed, me diste de beber. Fui forastero y me acogiste. Que sea pues esto lo que nos reúna a todos en estas fronteras, y que sin muros podamos ser un solo pueblo, una sola comunidad, una sola familia. Muchas gracias, sean todos bienvenidos.
Good afternoon. There is no day that is not met, and there is no deadline that is not reached. Welcome everyone to La Casa de la Misericordia from Nogales, Sonora, Mexico. Welcome everyone. And we give you a warm welcome to all of you, like the warmth that comes from this heat of the oven, which is why we are gathered here, sharing food, the spaces of friendship, making the gospel come to life. And she quote from the Bible, I was hungry and you feed me. I was thirsty and you gave me drink. I was a stranger and you welcomed me. So let this be what brings us together to this border, and where we all can be one community, one family. Thank you and welcome all.
Thank you, Raquel, for that translation. And thank you so much, Sister Lika, for bringing us into your home and into the casa down in Nogales. We are going to move right into Act 1 using our hands to help us root down into the idea of food, which inevitably ties together both land and our bellies. So joining us all the way from Colombia, a friend, food educator, activist, and someone that I wish I could be eating next to right now, Charles Michel. So Charles, welcome to the table and thank you for joining us today.
Hi, buenos días. Thank you so much, Molly, for the introduction. Gracias, hermana Lika, por esa invitación tan linda. I'm so honored to be here today with you all. And what a moment, right? And as you know, we live in a world where there is so much polarization. There is so much kind of competing narratives sometimes, and we forget sometimes to shine a light on the things that make us human. We forget to focus our attention and our energy around what unites us. Like Jurgis was saying, through music, right? The universal, power of music is just as powerful as the universal and community binding force of food. And so I'm here in Bogota, Colombia, formerly Bacatá, from Muisca territory. And today I'm here in my home, and I want to take you to the hearth, to the place where the most magic can be made in a home, which is the kitchen. So I'm going to move now to the kitchen here, and I'm going to prepare something that my grandmother prepared, something that is also a unifying narrative. In Colombia today, we are experiencing one of the greatest migration crises as well. And, all over the world, we're seeing this phenomenon. And our brothers and sisters from Venezuela are experiencing complexities that make them have to come to Colombia. And sometimes we focus on our differences, but what are the things that connect us? Arepas is one of the things that connect us. So I wanted to kind of present to you this dish, right? I have some hot water here. If you receive the kit, you should have all the same ingredients as I have. And so we're going to be cooking a very, very simple recipe of arepas to just show kind of this unifying power of food. So I'm going to focus on my hands now. Here, there we go. And so what is this? What do you need for this recipe? You need flour, corn, which is one of the sacred foods of ancestral kind of wisdom of these lands in the American continent, right? In this beautiful continent that we call home. So I have corn here. I have some hot water, and if you like, some cheese. So what do? It's pretty simple. We're gonna bring in the corn, which is very much the energy, right? This plant has absorbed the solar energy for a whole season to be able to, and condense it in the form of food through the grains. I'm just gonna add a tiny bit of water, right? And you're gonna start adding just a tiny bit of water, right? And you're gonna mix until you get a dough that you can take with your hands, right? I'm gonna start by putting, see here, start getting this little dough, very simple dough, right? I'm gonna add a bit more corn. There's no recipe here, it's a filling. It's something that you will feel with your hands, with your touch, right? I think this is good. I'm going to add a bit of cheese into my dough, cheese that brings also energy, grateful for the cows that let us take some of their milk to be able to have this beautiful flavor. And so now you see the dough doesn't stick to my hand, so I can take it here in my hand. There's nothing more simple. Listen, I have 2 minutes and we're making a beautiful, beautiful recipe that is tradition to many people, that is breakfast and sustenance for many millions of people here in Colombia and also in Venezuela. So now that I can take it with my hand, I'm just going to roll it around a little bit, right? And if you are at home, you can do this as well. If you're really a fan of cheese, you can even make a little hole in the center, add some more cheese. There we go. And now, okay, we have a very simple arepa, right? And this is gestures that are very, very ancient, right? Before we used to mill the corn, we used to be very careful about our resources. And today we've somehow disconnected from the fact that this is life, right? This is where we get our sustenance from. This is the molecules that are going to be in my body tomorrow. This is the energy that will power my brain tomorrow and my consciousness. This is something to be grateful for, right? See, I'm shaping it. This is something that you can do at home. It's super fun to make with kids, right? I'm gonna take here in a little plate, and now I'm gonna go to the fire, to the hearth, right? Okay, I'm going to move here, and I have this here. I'm gonna wait until it's a bit hot to then put my arepa to cook. And it's going to be super simple. Very important, when you put your arepa on the fire, it has to be hot. So I'm going to just let it for a little minute there, warm up before starting to cook it. And in the meantime, I want to share with you how kind of grateful we are to be able to have this space with you all here. And I'm going to be taking you on a journey. First, we're going to go to Nogales. We're going to see the work and the recipes of these women, the mothers that are right now in Nogales. We're also here from Chef also in Tijuana, and Chef Eloy as well, chef from Sonora, right? I'm going to start cooking my arepa now that it's a bit hot here, right? I'm going to put it in medium to low. After it's very hot, medium to low heat. And then I'm going to kind of turn it around every 2 or 3 minutes, right? So I'm going to leave it there, and I'm going to be back here on the fire in a second. Now I'm going to sit here, and we're going to start this journey through culture, through narratives that unite us. And so we're going to start by visiting Sister Lika, Hermana Lika. Buenas tardes. We're going to be hearing from Hermana Lika, and also hearing from Rosa Beltran from Michoacán, who is going to show us how to make tortillas, the same ingredients that we're using here, right? Corn, but prepared in a very different way. Señor Hermana Lika, ¿está por ahí?
Gracias, Charles. ¿Cómo están? Bienvenidos. Ya estamos aquí, la familia Casa de la Misericordia, preparando los alimentos. Y podrán estar de acuerdo conmigo que las familias en ambientes o en contextos de comida se fortalecen las relaciones y a veces se restablecen con el signo de la alianza. Ahorita vamos a presentar Rosa Beltrán, les dirá cómo se hacen las tortillas.
Hola, buenos días. Mi nombre es Rosa Beltrán. Soy originaria de Marabatío, Michoacán. Yo les voy a explicar un poquito sobre las tortillas. La tortilla es muy fundamental para todos nosotros. En especial, pues, la utilizamos con toda la comida. La tortilla, a veces cuando no tenemos que comer, simplemente la comemos con sal. Les explico un poquito sobre cómo se elabora. Se pone a cocer el maíz con cal. Eso se le llama nixtamal. Enseguida se muele en un molino y obtenemos lo que es la masa. Aquí mi compañera está, ya esto es lo que salió del maíz. Está amasando la masa y enseguida tenemos el comal. Es un comal que ya está caliente, se prende con leña. Este comal le nombramos fogón, es un fogón para nosotros. En él se elaboran las tortillas y pues ya cuando se empiezan a inflar las tortillas es porque ya están. Aquí ya las tenemos listas. Así es como queda la tortilla para disfrutar cualquier comida.
Muchas gracias, Rosa.
Gracias.
Voy a interrumpirle un momentito antes de ustedes seguir para poder traducir un poco. Well, Sister Lika, say hi from Nogales, Mexico. She's the sister-led that works in La Casa de la Misericordia. And we can see all the female residents that right now they're doing the tortillas. That's a really typical dish from Mexico. And well, well, a lot of places in Latin America, and it's made from corn. So she took us through all the process. They got the grain corn, and then they smash it, and then they mix it with water. And then as the same process of that arepa, we make it the shape with our hands, and then place it into this heated pan. And so that right now they're showing us the final product. It's a delicious tortilla.
Thank you
Muchas
so
gracias,
much.
Rosa.
Gracias, Raquel, por la traducción. Gracias, Doña Rosa. Muchas gracias por mostrarnos cómo están haciendo las tortillas. Thank you so much for showing us this beautiful tradition, Rosa. So now we're going to move to another point of the border, Tijuana, a border town, border city in the west coast of Mexico. And so we're going to be visiting Oso Campos. Chef Oso is an amazing chef who's going to be from his kitchen showing us how his creation. So he invented this, super inspired dish called Gorditas Sin Fronteras. So Chef Oso, muchas gracias por estar aquí con nosotros. Thank you so much. Take it away.
Hey, hello, good evening, buenos días, buenas tardes, good afternoon, good night, whatever you are. I'm also from Tijuana, and well, basically we're gonna make a thing called Gorditas Sin Fronteras is the name of it, because we are all here together with the same inspiration. Well, it's just the gordita is just basically an equivalent or a different presentation of arepa or tortilla, a corn tortilla. So in this case, I choose plantain to one of the ingredients. So I'm gonna cook the plantain whole in the fire a little bit. So first I'm gonna open the fire pit. I'm gonna move the coils a little bit, and then I'm gonna put my plantain there. I leave the skin on because the skin helps a lot on the process of cooking. So the plantain kind of steams and cooks in its own juices. So it's gonna take around 4 to 5 minutes for that to happen. Maybe I've just flipped it once. Also, the good thing about cooking in such an intense heat level increases the flavor of sugars on the plantain. So it tastes a lot better, like caramelized fruit. So let's say we have gone through some minutes now, and that happened. So after that, what I do is I make a puree out of the plantain and put half of masa, regular corn masa, with the plantain puree and make a dough out of it. And basically it looks like this. And then I added some cheddar cheese. I chose cheddar cheese because basically I think that cheddar is like the most American dish. I mean, most American cheese I could think of. So what I'm gonna do now is gonna make a little round shape. It's like a tortilla, but it's fatter. So that's why it's called gorditas or fatty. So it's really simple. I already have a flat surface. It's good to cook it without oil because you don't really need any source of oil with all the ingredients you have here. I mean, the cheese has already some kind of a grease, so that should be enough. So let's say it takes around a couple of minutes also for it to cook. And meanwhile, I was making like a black glaze to represent the borders. It's a sweet glaze. For that, I've been using, or I always use ashes of everything. We have onion ashes and tortillas, pretty much burned, completely dehydrated. And when you make an adobo or any kind of recipe that has dried chiles, and you normally throw away the insides, in this case, I save all the seeds and roast them completely also, so they can be part of the thing that we're gonna make as a sauce. So basically, all of those ashes, I put them in a blender with a little bit of juice to make a paste, and then put it in a pot to dissolve with a little bit of cane sugar, which is, well, this is piloncillo, which is the first step of cane sugar. It's also really traditional in all of America that we use it for any type of dish, dessert, or anything like that. And at the end, what we're gonna do is basically dissolve that piloncillo into the ashes and some water or juice. And you're gonna have a sauce, which is gonna look like this. Oops. So something like that. And so I think our gordita is pretty much made. So I'm gonna have a little one here, extra that I made a little bit earlier because of the time that I have. Let me move my thing. So yes, I basically chose this. This is how it looks at the end. It just cook both sides. It's like an arepa. And the symbolic part of it is that I wanted to somehow demonstrate that we can break the borders like music does. Also, food does the same. So I did this black sauce to kind of represent all the things that we don't really like, which is the border. And I like to use this cotija cheese, which is a really dry, salted cheese that makes it a good topping, and also kind of the idea of, like, you know, white clouds, white hope, which white means in my mind, it means transformation. So at the end, we can just transform and erase a little bit of the border in a dish. So it's just simple, but I think it's also quite tasty. So we can try it, whatever you are. Well, this is it. Gorditas sin fronteras. Patties without borders is the name of the thing. Muchas
Qué
gracias.
belleza. Hermano, hermanoso, qué bacano, qué linda filosofía. What a beautiful dish, what a beautiful philosophy, what an artwork. Thank you so much for making this and sharing with us. Okay, so now we're going to continue our journey. We're going back to Nogales. This time we're going to be hearing from Norma. Norma is from Guerrero, and she from Mexico, and she's going to be sharing with us a chicken recipe that they're going to eat for lunch today at with the Nogales community. Por ahí estamos, volvemos a Nogales. Por ahí está Norma.
Hola, voy a compartir con ustedes lo que es la receta del estofado de pollo. En nuestra región usualmente se hace para casos especiales como bodas, 15 años, bautizos. Ok, mi compañera les va a explicar el primer paso de la preparación.
Muchísimas gracias. I'm going to translate right now. She's Rosa, she is from Mexico, and she let us know about the chicken recipe. You can see in your toolkit in your page number 8. It says it's a really important dish that you can use. You can eat in really important like celebrations like quinceañeras or weddings or Christmas events. So now she's going to introduce us to her teammate that she will take us through the process. Adelante.
Hola. Primero que nada, ya tenemos que tener el pollo listo y limpio. Para empezar, tenemos que ponerlo a marinar. Vamos a utilizar pimienta, comino, ajo, cebolla. También vamos a utilizar orégano y sazonador de pollo. Lo vamos a dejar reposar durante 10 minutos.
Thank you. Gracias. Well, she started with you can see the recipe on the toolkit, and she started with how to marinate the chicken with the ingredients. A little bit of garlic, onion, oregano, black pepper, powered sazzoner, and salt. Adelante.
Ok, también nosotros utilizamos lo que es fruta y vegetales. Algunos vegetales los tenemos aquí en nuestro huerto de la Casa de la Misericordia, como ven. Podemos hacer en este tipo de corte. Ponemos cebolla, jitomate, piña, papa, zanahoria, plátano macho, aceituna, ciruela pasas y pasitas. Enseguida metemos el pollo en este orden y finalmente lo cubrimos de nuevo con los vegetales.
Okay, so we can see that once the chicken is marinated with all the herbs that she just mentioned, then she grabbed all the vegetables and some fruits like a tomato, onion, carrot, potato, pineapple, green olives, banana, and raisins, and butter to taste. And then she had grab a pan and placed every vegetables, just a layer of vegetables, then put the chicken that is already marinated, and then another layer of all the vegetables. And then she used this aluminum paper to cover the pan. Adelante.
Finalmente lo tapamos con papel aluminio, sellándolo, lo metemos al horno por 2 horas aproximadamente por 250 grados.
So then they place it into the oven for like 2 hours, and you wait until the chicken, you can smell it, all the vegetables and the fruits. Adelante.
Lo sacamos del horno, finalmente queda en este punto.
And then we take it out of the oven, and you can see the deliciousness that it's going on there. They're going to smell delicious also.
Wow, that almost smells delicious to hear. Thank you so much. Muchísimas gracias, Norma, y todo el equipo. Qué lindas ustedes y qué lindo ese plato que nos están mostrando. Qué maravilla. Gracias por esa generosidad de compartir. Thank you for the generosity.
Muy rico. Lo acompañamos con arroz, chiles en escabeche y sus tortillas hechas a mano. Provecho. Y todos a disfrutar. Buen provecho.
And then we enjoy the dishes with some rice. Thank you.
With some chili on the side. So good. Okay, so now from Sonora, we're going not too far from there as well. We're going to meet Chef Eloy Aluri from Hermosillo, Sonora, who's going to be cooking a traditional bread recipe called pan de vieja. Eloy, ¿estás por ahí?
Hola Charles, ¿cómo estás? ¿Me escuchan?
¿Qué tal, hombre? Todo bien, perfecto. Sigue, adelante, cuéntanos.
Qué gusto poder compartir con ustedes. Hi everybody, it's a pleasure for us to be with you. We're live from Mocorito, Sinaloa, a magic town from Mexico. And we're sharing a traditional recipe. You know, it's called pan de vieja. It's a traditional bread from Sonora and Sinaloa. That's why I choose this particular recipe. You know, this is bread that we prepare. It's really easy. You will need the flour. You know, I just cook. You know, while our friend we're singing sabroso. You know, I inspire myself and I do all I had inside. We have I read your guide about conscious eating, and I saw that always that we buy something, we're voting for some philosophy for the community. So I choose this Noroeste flour, which means that I know the family who meals this, and it's family with values. Say hi to those. I hope you can also add house sugar. We will add the sugar to the yeast, to the flour. Then we have yeast, 44 grams of yeast. And we're going to start creaming our shortening, you know. So we start like creaming. When it's creamed, we will add our cream, our shortening that is soft, and we're going to start mixing well. You know, like mixing a lot of time. Then we add the water to this cream shortening, and with our flour. Okay, and after that we're gonna continue mixing till it's a real well and mixed well in an involving way, you know, with our hands, you know, so we can make una mezcla homogénea, you know, like if it's all put together like a big hug, you know, we are embracing our flour, we're embracing our water, we are with our hands, you know, adding love and adding intention. In Mexico, we found in our investigation that in some recipes, people write that the secret of that recipe is it's love. So for us, it's really important to let the people know that love is important when we're cooking, because as you say, we're adding to the seeds water, we're adding the salt, the sun, you know, we're adding this amazing wind and oxygen, and also we can add not just our hands, putting everything together, but we can add our love, our conscience, and we can pray while we are cooking. So for me, that's why I love to cook, and I'm really happy to be with you guys. So after, you know, after mixing well, you know, all our ingredients, the recipe, you will have it, you know, in recipes for wrestlers, it's 2 kilos of flour, half of kilo of vegetable shortening, 44 grams of yeast, 2 cups of sugar, a pinch of salt, and 1.5 liters of water. So it's really easy. We leave rest our mix, and then after it rests, you know, we just will be making these beautiful birds like the arepas, you know, like we just make this beautiful form, giving love, you know, working and letting it rest, letting this rest, and then we cook in the oven, you know, for 20 from 15 to 20 minutes. We cook this, and then it's out of the oven, you know. Also in Sonora, you know, we eat this, you know, stuff like the chicken that just prepared, the estofado that just prepared our friends from Nogales, you know. You just take out the bones and the seeds of the olive, and if anything, if any other product have some seeds you take out, you liquefy it or make a puree, and you just put like a pate, and you make lunches. You know, it's amazing. So with this, you can add everything inside. We eat this with coffee, with jams,
Qué rico.
Jamón, cheese, whatever you want, guys. And also, sisters, you can sell these at Nogales. I'm sure that you're gonna sell it with all your love and all your passion that you're putting to Pedacito house.
Yeah. Gracias, Eloy. Thank you so much for your heart, your philosophy, and your magic. Wow, you had everything ready. So great. Thank you so much for sharing with us today. We're going back to Nogales now. We're going to be visiting now another recipe, a bread recipe, marquesote from Guatemala. And it's actually Ilse from Honduras and her team who are going to be talking to us about this recipe. Now, let's go back. Ilse, ¿estás por ahí? Buenos días, buenas tardes.
Mi nombre es Ilse, soy de Honduras. Vamos a presentar el marquesote de Guatemala, un pan que se come mucho en Centroamérica en ocasiones para Semana Santa. Y aquí estamos batiendo el huevo con un molinillo de madera hecho a mano hasta que llegue a punto de nieve.
Hola, my name is Ilse, and I'm from Honduras, and I'm going to be baking a marquesote. That it's a recipe that it's really well known in Central America. Is a bread based it's a sweet bread based with cream and cheese. And right now I'm going to show you the grain meal that we made, handmade by the residents here. And I'm showing you how I mix all the ingredients. You can find the ingredients in the page number 9 of your toolkit. Adelante.
Estos son los ingredientes. Lleva vainilla, ya tiene. Le agregamos canela, azúcar, requesón, mantequilla crema. Bueno, no se me sale. El queso, mantequilla derretida, harina, la leche, bicarbonato y un poquito de royal y sal.
So you can see that in a bowl, you mix all the ingredients just in one, and then you mix them all, and then just it's a mix with all the ingredients like eggs, heavy cream, rice flour, queso, cheese. We call them queso fresco, but it's like cheese, cottage cheese, and sugar and some baking soda. Adelante.
Luego engrasamos el molde y le echamos Le echamos la mezcla.
So then we greased with the butter the recipient where we going to place the marquesote, the mix of the marquesotes, and this we make it even.
Luego lo metemos al horno y lo dejamos de temperatura a 280 grados, aproximadamente de 40 minutos.
Then we make it even and then put it in place into the oven for around 40 minutes in a preheated 280 degrees.
Muéstranos, sácanos.
So then
Wow, qué
showing us,
belleza.
La muestra.
then showing us the final product because it takes a lot. So they already bake some marquesote so we can show us the dish.
Wow, wow, that's beautiful. Muchas gracias a todas, Ilse. Bueno, ahora ya vieron el horno. You already saw the oven. That's the horno that was built. That's where we're all kind of gathered together around. Hola, hermana Lika, ¿cómo está? Ahí está con toda la comunidad de Nogales. Qué lindo, en la Casa de la Misericordia.
El sentido profundo del alimento es compartirlo y al compartirlo es la alegría, la amistad y la comunión. Y en este sentido, compartir el alimento es reconocer a Jesús en ellos y reconocer a Jesús en ellos es la presencia de Dios entre nosotros. En ese sentido, bendecimos nuestros alimentos e inmediatamente pasamos a la comida después de este momento de bendecirlos con un rico.
The Sister Lika is telling us so beautiful words about sharing the food and the sense of the food that when we gather together, we can see Christ in the face of the other in the community. So now she's blessing by a prayer the food so we can share our food and then eat with the blessing of God. Adelante, hermana.
Muchas gracias y buen provecho.
Thank you so much.
Wow, qué maravilla. Muchas gracias, hermana Lika. Thank you so much, hermana Lika, for blessing the food and for such beautiful, powerful words that you just shared with us. When we are in community, we are in the presence of something greater. When we have beautiful food with us, we are in the presence of something greater. I want to show just gratitude for the woman that just showed us the recipes so generously. I want to share gratitude for the chefs who shared also, for everybody here around this hearth, this horno, right? And all the volunteers, everybody making this possible. The production is amazing. I am amazed myself, and I knew what was going to happen. And I just want to thank everybody for giving their best. And this is just a moment, I guess, for us to realize what can happen around these spaces. Casa de la Misericordia in Nogales, this horno that is the symbol of warmth, of hearth, of being together, of being in community, of seeing our humanity and our shared humanity. And these are the spaces that this initiative wants to build all along the border and hopefully in borders beyond the US and Mexico one. That is why we're here together today. And there's an invitation for all of us to support with volunteering also, but also financially if we can, $1, $5, $10, $50, $1,000, whatever your heart is telling you. There's going to be a link in the chat. And I'm so grateful to have had the opportunity to share with you. It's actually perfect. My arepa is ready here. I'm also going to be taking a bite in gratitude for all of you, all of us, and for finding and creating this better world our hearts know is possible. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you, Charles, Eloy, Oso, hermanas de la casa, muchas gracias. Thank you for sharing your words, your food, your recipes with us. If you were someone who was cooking along with us today, we would love for you to take a picture of your meal or of your bread, whatever it is that you've made, whether you made it today with us beforehand, right now, or later on. And when you get that thank you email from us, please send us back a photo of what you made, because as we gather more recipes from different hornos and centers that are built, we're going to be putting together a toolkit and a recipe book called Recipes for Resilience. And so we would love to include photos of all of the food that you've created along with us in that journey. And really, you know, thinking about everything that was just shared, you know, every culture has bread, but every culture's bread is unique, right? And I know that as each and every person makes their own bread, it's unique just like every one of us. And I really just feel inspired by the plethora and the journey we just went on with food. And so what we're going to be doing now is we're going to move into Act 2. So ideally, you know, you have a little bit of food in front of you, and we're going to engage our cores. We're going to engage our bellies by having a little bit of snack, and we're going to engage our hearts because we're going to be watching a film that was made about the activation and the Horno build down in Nogales this past fall. We had an amazing group of talented filmmakers who headed down to Nogales, including Kai and Lena, John, Alejandro, and Lee. And they poured their hearts and their talents into telling this story of the casa, of Sister Lika, of all the families you just saw around the Horno sharing their meal, and particularly about our friend Ronald, who went down to build this Horno as well. So we invite you to have a little piece of food, to break some bread with us, and we're all gonna watch the world premiere of this film that's been created for us today. So let's go.
Mi padre fue asesinado cuando yo tenía 8 o 9 años. Mi mamá se volvió a casar con el hombre que se casó, fue amenazado por los carteles. Sí. Tuvimos que huir de nuestra casa. Ahora que ya soy de edad, esperemos casarnos cuando tengamos un lugar seguro.
Todo eso ahí, abandonado, y tener que ir a otros lugares a empezar de cero.
He pasado por muchos países, he pasado por 5 fronteras.
Pues ahorita estamos esperando una solicitud de asilo para poder entrar a los Estados Unidos.
Tengo 8 años, ya tengo un año aquí.
Y todo por culpa de gente mala que en nuestro propio país tenemos.
Mi vida estuvo en peligro, está en peligro, pues hasta el día de hoy yo no puedo regresar a mi país.
Fue una trayectoria muy fea, muy fea, muy fea.
Cuando Lika se acercó a nosotras y la conocimos, o sea, cambió todo.
Buenos días. Mira. Van a hacer sorpresa para los niños. Van a hacer sorpresa. Me dicen madre, me dicen Lika por mi nombre, hasta abuelita resulté. Entonces, crear el espacio, coordinarlo y que esto funcione. Este espacio es como la espera y como una preparación, yo digo también, de serenidad y paz para cruzar a Estados Unidos. Su proceso de asilo inicia aquí, en este espacio.
Over the last 4 years, we've had such a huge surge of migrants with nowhere to go, nowhere to be safe, nowhere to be cared for. Medical, food, clothing, shelter, warmth, hot water, that's all here. At this time, we have over 200 people.
Aquí vienen unos maestros que nos dan clases.
Pues yo espero para mi hijo un mejor futuro, que estudie, que sea alguien en la vida y que haga algo en la vida.
He estado apoyando, pues ahorita es Alight. Alight es quien nos ha creído en nosotros y ha hecho posible también un sueño de alegría y felicidad, porque a través de ellos tenemos transformado espacios. Hay un grupo de abogados, abogadas, les dan a conocer cuáles son sus derechos, les dan a conocer todo el proceso de asilo.
Aquí que somos unidos, nos ayudamos mutuamente.
¿Cómo nos ayudan aquí a prepararnos? Manteniéndonos una estabilidad emocional y también física.
Hemos estado en muchos albergues y no ha sido ninguno como este.
Sinceramente, acá en Nogales, más tranquilo.
Gente como Ronald que nos están apoyando muchísimo a construir todo esto, porque nosotros solos no pudiéramos hacerlo.
I had a vision to build hornos along the US-Mexico border to bring people together around food, and I was lucky enough to be invited to do that. And so here we are. I'm coming in to maybe simply be a very small catalyst of someone who wants to make an horno, but there are people here who know how to make hornos much better than me, who've cooked on hornos much longer than me. For some, they've never seen an horno. You know, it's a giant pile of mud. The word horno means oven, and everybody has an oven in their house in the United States, and it's just this little metal thing, and they put in some stuff, and they close it down, and there's no ceremony or ritual around it. When I say this is an oven made out of earth, it's made out of the ground right beneath our feet. It's made out of the clay and sand, and we just make it into bricks. And it's not a product that you buy, but it's something that you make, something that anyone can do, and it's a technology that's been around for thousands of years.
¿Qué construimos? Sí. Me encanta. Aquí reconstruimos personas y reconstruimos la humanidad.
Como te digo, soy guatemalteco, ya no soy ningún muchacho jovencito. Acostumbramos a hacer el pan según la costumbre de nuestro pueblo. Tú me dices si se está abriendo para poner más madera, porque ya estamos muy close.
Sí. The horno, we just finished closing it up, and now we're giving it one coat of plaster. Hornos are like magic, right? The moment we built it, all of a sudden there's fire, so people gather around the fire. Suddenly there's food being prepared, and so people are gathering around food. Suddenly there's warmth, people are eating, people are talking. So it's amazing how the horno itself just kind of lit up this space in amazing ways and brought people together around it. My dream is that we can build 100 of these along the border. I think a bigger dream is that how can we share not only food, but these stories across the border. This horno will be here for hundreds of years, and it's now a member of the community. There was a beautiful sign around here. It said something like, "Fronteras nos divide, pero la tierra nos une." Borders divide us, but the earth unites us.
¿Cuántos van de aquí? Sí. Cada vez que se va una persona, o sea, como llegan, me dan ganas de llorar. Tengo ganas de llorar. Bueno, también llora de alegría. Yo lloro de alegría también. Sí.
Ahora sí ya estamos listos. Ahora yo sí puedo decir que estoy lista con mi familia para poder emprender ese nuevo viaje.
Ha sido difícil, pero pues gracias a Dios poco a poco vamos viendo la luz al final del túnel.
Que supieran de los inmigrantes, que nos den una oportunidad.
Muchísimas gracias por tomarse este tiempo para escucharnos.
Cuando esté grande quiero vivir en este albergue porque está bien bonito.
Wow. That was actually my first time seeing the final video. I wanted to share the reaction with everybody. And just a reminder, la traducción está activada, así que recuerda hacer clic en interpretación y seleccionar español para escucharme traducido. Wow, I just really want to thank and reflect the love and the courage that I really saw in all of the people who shared their stories in that video. And this is a fundraising event. Wow, words, you guys. Maybe I should take another deep breath after watching the film. But this is a fundraising event because we support those in our global community who are experiencing a crisis of home. And this is not a new issue. But right now, I feel like so many of us are just a few steps away from forced migration, whether it's because of environmental crisis or economic crisis or social issues. And my hope would be that if I were to find myself in this position, that I would be received with the respect and the care that people find at the Casa and that Alight supports through their work around the world. So, wow, thank you all for sharing that with us, that experience. So we're going to transition into Act 3, the part where we use our heads to join in a conversation between some of the core partners in the Casa de Misericordia project. So as they're talking, just keep dropping your questions in the chat box. We're going to try to answer as many of them as we can. And I am just honored to know and to welcome Sister Lika, Casa Director and Radical Badass Catholic Nun, Annie Nolte Henning, Alight Director of the Americas, and amateur orno builder and also educator, activist, and artist, Ronald Rael, who's the most recent winner of the Beasley Design of the Year Award by the Design Museum for his installation of pink seesaws along the US-Mexico border.
Thank you, Molly. Thank you so much. As she said, I'm Annie Nolte Henning from Alight, and we are pretty blown away by the number of people we have here today sharing in food and conversation. And like Molly said, the film leaves you pretty speechless because for me, it encapsulates so well the definition of what a home is built from. So before we begin our conversation, I'd love to hear from you and your families. What is one thing that makes you feel at home? So point your attention to the poll that's going to appear on your screen. And I encourage you to take a moment, ask the kiddos that you're with or your family members to really start thinking about how you define home. And I'm excited to see these results. Right. Friends and family, home cooked meal. Well, we've got the right thing going today then. All right, so I am here with my friends, Ronald Rayal and Sister Hermana Lika today. Sister Lika is the total package. Ronald, you're not far from it either. Lika is this beautiful, brilliant, hilarious woman. She's an artist. Much of the murals and the art that you've seen at the shelter today was her work. And Lika, your shelter is really something beautiful. And so I want to hear from her because Lika, you've created this place for families that hold all the same tenets we have for our homes. Pride, the feeling of responsibility, of being able to take care of a space, security, comfort. So Lika, I would love to hear from you. What does home mean to you? And how have you worked to recreate this feeling of home for others on a migration journey?
Indudablemente el Evangelio me interpela y da la pauta para un proyecto de vida, una vida que no la puedo vivir yo sola. Todos somos necesarios y no es suficiente hacer obras de caridad sin poner caridad en las obras, solo para sentirnos merecedores de la misma vida que es dada por Dios. En ese sentido, el refugio, la casa, se convierte en hogar por el hecho de reconocer a cada uno de los migrantes como el Cristo sufriendo, quienes huyen de las persecuciones, de las extorsiones, amenazas, desconocidos muchas veces por su propia gente. Yo no podría hacerlo sola tampoco. Dios pone tiempos, formas, personas concretas que sin estar presentes aquí, gracias a ellas como Cruzando Fronteras, Alight, familias o familiares nuestros, amistades que han hecho posible sostener este hogar. La oración es muy determinante para esto. Yo pienso que la vida merece ser vivida a cada instante, uniendo fe y vida, con la convicción de que lo hagamos o que lo que hagamos o dejemos de hacer por una humanidad que todos anhelamos, es determinante para la construcción del reino de Dios y no un reino de muerte.
Without a doubt, the gospel challenged me to and gives me the guideline for a life project, a life that cannot make it alone. We all are important, and that is not enough to do charity, but you have to put charity into actions just to feel the worthy of being alive, which is given by God. In this sense, the shelter, the house, becomes like home, recognizing the suffering of Christ in the other people. And I cannot do it alone. She mentioned again that she feels supported by people that God put into her pathway, like Cruzando Fronteras, Alight, families, and friends that have made it possible to sustain the La Casa. And the prayers is really important for them and to make this happen. And she feels that a life deserves to be lived by every moment, uniting faith and life with the conviction that what we do in this life for the humanity, it could build. It's critical to build a kingdom of God, and not a kingdom of death.
Thank you, Raquel, and thanks, Lika. I'm so glad you shared that with us, because when we at Alight think about partners in our work, we think about it as that factor of aliveness as well. So at Alight, we are a humanitarian organization, and we do a lot of the humanitarian basics, like getting people shelter, clean water, healthcare, making sure people are safe. But we realize that's only a part of life, and that a life is filled with dignity and joy and connection and purpose, and that feeling of being alive. So we really strive to support people in building these things too. And to do so, it's all about finding amazing partners and not making solutions for people, but finding solutions from people. So Ronald Rayal, you have been a catalyst in finding and co-designing from people living in the borderlands. Can you tell us, why are you so fascinated with these ornos and working on the border? And did this project turn out the way that you intended it to?
Thanks. Thanks, Annie. Hola, Manalika. Hello, everyone. Buenas tardes todos. I'm going to try to speak both Spanish and English. So voy a hablar en dos lenguas. A ver, you know, Annie, I think this project turned out better than I imagined it to be. The first day I arrived, I asked the community if they were familiar with or had experience with cooking with hornos. And the majority of the community said they had, and this gave me a lot of confidence because I knew at that moment I'd be learning from them and we'd be building an horno together. Estoy diciendo que salió el proyecto mejor que me imaginaba porque el primer día que llegué les pregunté a la comunidad si ya estaban familiares con cocinar en hornos y la mayoría dijeron que sí. Entonces esto me dio mucha confianza de que iba yo a aprender de la comunidad y nosotros íbamos a construir juntos. So this was a project that we co-created together with an amazing team. El horno fue construido con un equipo increíble, gracias amigos, and I learned so much from everyone and really enjoyed hearing the stories from Juan Carlos about his parents who were the bread makers in his village in Guatemala and who built hornos with his father when he was young. You know, aprendí mucho de todos, contando historias como las de don Juan Carlos y sus padres, quienes eran panaderos en su pueblo en Guatemala. Juan Carlos le ayudó a su papá de niño construyendo hornos y ya tenía mucha experiencia en el proceso. I'm fascinated by hornos and working on the border because I come from a tradition of people who cooked in hornos. My great-grandmother was an amazing cook and cooked on an horno outside her little adobe house in southern Colorado, which is where I'm coming to you from right now, a place that used to be the Mexican side of the border between the United States and Mexico prior to the Mexican-American War in 1846. Dije que estoy fascinado con los hornos y trabajando con la gente fronteriza porque yo vengo de una tradición de gente que cocinaba en hornos. Mi bisabuela era cocinera media famosa en mi pueblito y horneaba en un horno fuera de su casita de adobe en el estado de Colorado, aquí en los Estados Unidos, en un lugar que fue México antes de la guerra entre los Estados Unidos y México en 1846. And what's interesting, you know, is that the horno is also an immigrant. It came from North Africa through Spain and to the Americas and was adopted by the indigenous people of the Americas. And we share these cooking traditions across all the Americas and really the world, which is why I thought this cooking technology would be something that we could all gather around, giving everyone a sense of community and belonging. Dije que es interesante que el horno también es inmigrante, ¿no? Llegó desde África por España a las Américas y fue adoptado por la gente indígena y nosotros de todas las Américas y bueno, de todo el mundo tenemos esto en común, la idea de arrimarnos juntos alrededor de un horno para compartir comida y la comunidad. But you know, I'd like to know how Manalika thinks about how the project turned out for her and the community, and what advice she has for us continuing projects like this along the border, especially staying true to creating the idea of home. Doña Angélica, tengo dos preguntas. ¿Cómo cree que fue o salió el proyecto? Y además, ¿qué consejo tiene usted para continuar proyectos como este en otros refugios, otros albergues a lo largo de la frontera?
Ay, Ron, mira, pues yo diría que consejos no tendría que dar. He vivido el encuentro y la llegada de muchos migrantes a la Casa de la Misericordia. He visto sus procesos de adaptación, de aceptación y de trabajar poco a poco en la reconstrucción de las personas, de sus traumas, experiencias por las cuales tuvieron que salir de sus casas, dejándolo todo. Así también vi la construcción del horno como una resignificación de sus vidas. Maravilloso. Más de alguno compartió que al ver terminada la obra, evocaba su infancia en alguna experiencia muy importante, muy positiva, un recuerdo que ahora se hacía tan vivo y como una extensión de su casa. Eso es lo más bonito. Aquí yo hago el paragón del horno con el término hogar
hogar como hoguera que rescalda los corazones de quienes la habitan. Mi reconocimiento para ti por tu iniciativa y mi única sugerencia sería que sigas con ese espíritu tan humilde y cercano. La inculturación yo creo que es muy importante, es decir, continuar preguntando a los residentes, a los migrantes que van llegando y escuchar cómo ellos construyen en sus países los hornos y así se van a seguir reconstruyendo muchos hornos en diferentes partes del mundo.
I have lived the arrival of migrants to la Casa de la Misericordia. I have seen their process of adaptation, acceptance, and work little by little in the reconstruction of their life. After living traumatic experience for which they have lived their homes, they have left everything behind. In the same way, I see the construction, in the process of the construction of the adobe horno, a resignification of their lives. More than one resident have shared that once they saw the finished work of the horno, they evoked their childhood in some extremely positive experience, a memory that now becoming so vivid and as an extension of their home. Here, I make the comparison to the oven with the term home. Home as a bonfire that rests in the hearts of those who live in them. And my appreciation for you, Ron, for this initiative. My only suggestion is that you continue with that humble and close spirit. That inclusion of the cultures is very important. That means that you have to continue asking residents and listen to them about how they are building hornos in their own countries.
Thanks, Raquel, and thank you, Sister Lika. Sister Lika and the Nogales community, thank you for opening your doors and sharing your food and your recipes with us. This is not an easy journey, and yet you've welcomed us and have been extremely generous. So your time today with all of us is a gift. So I want to illuminate a vision for you all. We asked Sister Lika for her advice because we believe we can do this work 2 more times along the border in the next 3 months. And our big dream is over the course of the next year, we take what we've learned from Sister Lika and the Nogales community and partner with amazing people like the Burners Without Borders community, Ronald Royale, the film crew, and all of you to scale this idea of a little piece of home along the migrant trail. Because the border is viewed as the final stop on the journey, but there are hundreds of Catholic nuns and amazing people welcoming families all along the trail throughout Central America. The next stop in our journey is to work alongside 2 shelters in Tijuana. One is with a mother and son who provide shelter and services to LGBTIQ migrants who are fleeing persecution. And the other is with a group of Scalabrinian nuns who offer refuge to mothers and children. And so we'd love for all of you to continue joining us in this vision. Thanks for being a part of this conversation with Ronald, Hermana Lika, and me. I'm going to send it back to Molly and Christopher now in case there is time for a few questions.
Yes, thank you so much, Annie. Thank you so much, Ronald. Thank you so much, Lika. I think we do have time for just a couple of questions. And so I'm gonna first ask more of a logistical question that people have been interested in the chat box, which is, how long did it take to build the Horno? And more, how long did that space transformation take altogether?
So I'll speak to the space transformation, but Ronald, I'll pick on him for the Horno because he was on the ground. So the space transformation happened amazingly fast. And many times with Alight, we implement projects around the world. We work in over 20 countries. We have almost 3,000 staff around the world. And in Mexico, we work with local partners like Sister Lika and Amazing Mother and Son Duos. And so the project happened in just a matter of a few days, and a team of Alight staff were headed down to help work on the project. We've done a lot of prep work, and we have amazing, resourceful folks working at the Casa to help us. And COVID stopped us in our tracks. And so the Alight team got stuck on the US side of the border, and the families at the Casa ended up, taking everything into their own hands and doing it on their own, which has been the most amazing lesson learned, is that the families and the people living in these shelters have the most incredible gifts and want to share them during this time. So it happened in a course of a week with a little bit of follow-up, but really, really quick for how much happened. Over to you, Ron.
Yeah, the community built all of the mud bricks prior to us arriving, so that maybe they had spent a week or so making the adobes there on site. And when we arrived, everything was ready to go. There was sand, there was mud, there were the bricks. And you saw that amazing line that they used to transport the bricks to the site. And so over the course of 2 or 3 days, we assembled and plastered the horno, and we were cooking.
Wow. I'm going to transition us because our time is just going. So I think for our last question, we've had some folks in the chat box who are technically skilled or feel connected to this experience and are wanting to know how to volunteer, whether you need any help in any of the spaces. So I guess the final question is just kind of, how can people get involved, and what are the best ways to show support for this work?
Thanks for asking, Molly. Yeah, after seeing the amount of hospitality and commitment that goes into providing truly human-worthy services to shelter residents in Nogales, it is a all hands on deck moment to achieve this goal. So first way is we need to raise funds to expand to 2 more locations. So I'm asking everybody joining today to give. It doesn't matter what you give what you can and what you feel you can manage at this time, because really every dollar counts right now. And with the current COVID situation and the asylum situation, families at the border will likely need our support for a while. So a monthly gift also helps ensure that we can be there for them for the long run. I ask you to give of yourself today in a way that will touch families who are just looking for that little piece of home to breathe and connect with people, and share their gifts too. And giving lives in many different forms. And we do need as many hands as possible. We need the Ronalds, and we need the film crews, and we need people that are really just willing to share their talents and their time with us. So I encourage you to start a conversation with us. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear how you want to contribute. Obviously with COVID, it's a little bit more difficult than typically, but we really do want to engage this entire network of people that are here today to be able to scale this feeling of home and belonging all throughout Central America.
Great. Thank you so much, Annie. Thank you, Ronald. Thank you, Sister Lika. Honestly, it's a pleasure to get to hear about this project from all of you, and the ways that you all give your hearts and your hands and yourselves to this project. And I am just reminded continuously how important the relationships that we create in our lives are, because it's the relationships that create all of these opportunities, and it's by creating these connections with one another that more of these things are going to happen. So we're getting close to wrapping up our day together, and we honestly just have a few minutes left. We want to keep it tight here at the end. But, I'm sitting here and I'm reflecting on the food and on the film and on the conversation, and I really am left thinking about that idea of borders on the land. And maybe that should be known because we're called Burns Without Borders. And so I think about borders a lot, but really, I'm thinking about how lines that only exist in our minds can create such deep divisions between people. But then how we can go back to something like ancient technologies like bread or the horno or the oven and mix it together with new technologies like the internet. And all of a sudden people are able to come together here, no matter what type of walls or barriers are in the way. And I feel really hopeful about the future. While I know there's a lot of things happening, while there's a lot of energy kind of pushing them up against these ideas, I do know that it's people like us coming together in places like this that was never possible before. And so we're going to be able to see even more amazing things come out of it. So, our day has also really focused on this idea of the Orno. And I just wanted to say, I think it's important to remember that the Orno is a metaphor for so many of the great things that are happening through this project, A Little Piece of Home. There's a bunch of different spaces in Nogales that are part of Connection, El Jardín, El Sol, and others. And it's not one room in the house that makes a home. It's actually the many aspects of ourselves and our lives that inhabit a space that make us feel at ease and give us that feeling of being at home. And I know that right now in this call, I feel like I'm at home with all of you. And I'm so thankful again for the Casa in Nogales for welcoming us into their home for this call today. We're all gathered here today, and we created a shared vision of that more beautiful world that our hearts know is possible. Charles also said that before, and I am so thankful again for every single person who contributed to that dream today of a more connected, creative, resilient world. Again, I think that's what we're trying to all build here together. And so before we go, we have one last treat for you. A friend of mine, another magical musician and bard of interaction, Root Hub, I want to bring you up here to bring us all together for one last time before we break out into our own worlds. Thanks for being with us today.
Hola y aloha from Hawaii. Thank you, everyone. I'm Root Hub. I specialize in instant anthems, immediate music. I listen to all of our stories and how they intertwine. And I'm going to distill that into this song, our little instant anthem for a time together. And this song didn't exist an hour and a half ago. And it's how we amplify our collective story, keep it moving. And I want to dedicate this song to every human being in migration right now. Feed the fire and the fire will feed you. Feed the fire and the fire will feed you. Feed the fire, it'll feed you around the Orno. The more we share, the more we grow. Esta es una receta para el cambio. A recipe for change. Oh, as we go, find ourselves a little piece of home. Pedacito de la tierra. Pedacito de la tierra. Pedacito de la tierra. Me encanta. Manos, cabeza, corazón. Head, heart, and hands, so how we grow. Show us no matter how far we roam, yeah, we all gonna find a little piece of home. Pedacito de la tierra. Pedacito de la tierra. Oh, pedacito de la tierra. Me encanta. Con fuego, con familia, con sabor. Oh, remind us, oh, how to give a little more. Oh, a light guide us through the day. This is how we make borders go away. A pedacito de la tierra. Yeah, pedacito de la tierra. Oh, pedacito de la tierra. Oh, me encanta. One more time. Oh, the more we share, the more we grow. Esta es una receta para el cambio. Oh yeah, it's a recipe for change. Oh, here we go, and we find ourselves a little piece of home. Pedacito de la tierra. Oh, pedacito de la tierra. A little piece of home. Oh, I love pedacito de la tierra.
Root Hub, I am so inspired by how you're able to just bring everything we just talked about together. Thanks for being with us today.
You bet.
Yeah, there are so many incredible individuals. Thank you, Root Hub, and everyone else who have participated in and contributed to this initiative. And right now, we really just want to take one moment to thank the production team and the crew of people backstage who have been working behind the scenes to make today's event flow so smoothly, along with every single person who has shared themselves on our stage today. Shout out to our incredible interpreters, all of the chefs from across the borderlands, and of course, all of our incredible friends at Casa de Misericordia.
Yeah, and thank you, Molly, for co-hosting today with me. This has been a ton of fun of friends and creatives across the world. And we're gonna close up now. And just wanna thank you again. And in our closing moment, we invite everyone, if you can, to turn on your video and switch it into gallery mode up there in the right-hand corner of your screen. And if you can, just reach out and put your hand on the screen so that we can all connect again together real quick before we leave. Thank you, everybody, for being here with us today. We love you.
Estoy enamorada de la Catrina, pero ella no sabe lo que siento. Estoy cantando de ti, Catrina, porque quiero verme como ella. Estoy mirando a mi Catrina, pero puede ella verme sin dos ojos. Estoy pensando de ti, Catrina, y mis pies quieren bailar a México. Catrina, la Catrina, calavera señorita. Catrina, la Catrina, si yo me muero estaría contigo. Si un día nos encontramos, Catrina, y bailamos con las flores en tu cabeza. Si un día estoy tan flaca, un calavera, moriría una señora muy feliz. Si caminamos por las calles del cielo, o nos sentamos en las nubes con los ángeles, te pediría que volvieras conmigo, porque la muerte es lo que trae la vida. Catrina, la Catrina, calavera señorita. Catrina, la Catrina, si yo me muero estaría contigo. Catrina, la Catrina, calavera señorita. Catrina, la Catrina, si yo me muero estaría